Hello, everybody. This is out of character for the show, but we need to settle on the bench for just a second to talk about the sponsor of today's show, Knack. Do you carry around a lot in your backpack, like how LeBron James had to carry the Cleveland Cavaliers to 4 straight NBA Finals appearances? Does your messy and disorganized backpack make you want to pull a Bobby Knight and throw a chair across the room? Well, with Knack bags, you can look that frustrating straight in the face and tell it, you're out of here!
Knack bags are a combination of your everyday backpack, a travel backpack, and a laptop bag. You have several pockets around the bag, plus a patent-pending hidden expandable carry-on bag that will help you keep everything you're carrying around organized. Pockets on pockets like Patrick Mahomes picks up passing yard after passing yard. Plus, the interior is as padded as a lineman, allowing you to keep all of your electronics safe and sound. The best part, you don't have to look like the student athlete that just came out of a 3-hour lecture class. No matter the need for your bag, Knack fits your lifestyle. Its look is sleek, organized, professional, and stylish, allowing you to look your best while you work your best.
And right now, if you head to knackbags.com for a limited time, use the promo code BENCH with your next order to get a free TSA-approved lock with purchase. Make sure to add the TSA lock to your cart with your Knack bag of choice and use the code BENCH at checkout to get it for free. Knack, the one-bag life.
This is Empty the Bench with Tom Albano.
They're going to wait for the civil matters to, finish up, and then 4 games.
Nick Morgeson.
Time of possession should determine who gets the ball in overtime. That's that. If you dominated the time of possession, then you deserve to have the ball in overtime first.
And Nick Federa.
I really feel like he did this to do Todd Bowles a favor. I don't mean that to disparage Todd Bowles. I've always liked him, even when he was with the Jets, because most of the Jets' problems were not really his fault. Okay, you have everything you need. Run it back.
Empty the Bench starts now.
Scheisse or get off the pot.
Welcome to Gentleman 101. Oh, wait, no, this is Empty the Bench. Pardon me.
There's a bench.
Sorry, I had to brush up on my German for this episode.
That is Nick Morgeson, Nick Federa. I'm Tom Albano. This is episode number 129 of Empty the Bench, presented by Knack. All right, so a little bit of a loaded episode this week because we have a guest coming on in about half hour. We're going to have AJ Perez of Front Office Sports coming on, making an appearance to talk about his story for Front Office Sports that came out actually after we ended our show last week. Allegedly of the Commanders and Dan Snyder. Dan Snyder allegedly involved in another controversy. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, that always tends to happen, but unfortunately, we do have to start out on a bit of a more downer note.
Yeah, a bit of.
Yeah, so it seems like this show finds breaking news in the worst ways possible. Would you guys agree?
Oh yeah, this is supposed to be a quiet week, but no.
Well, once again, we have our pre-show meeting. We say, and we had to do it late because of events going on in my life. That hey, we had to do it on Thursday, so we only had less than 48 hours to get everything ready. You're like, wow, it's a little quiet here. And
literally
something like this has to happen.
And by the way, on top of this, we have controversy on top of this too.
Yes,
we do. So
break it down. We're still trying to figure out the details, but it was just reported a few hours ago that the former Washington Commanders quarterback, former first round draft pick, now current Steeler quarterback Dwayne Haskins, dead at the age of 29. He was actually I have to update this headline too. It was not by a car; it was by a dump truck.
I think he's also 24.
Yeah, I think he was 24 years old. I think. But wow, I didn't know it was a dump truck. Holy crap!
Yeah. Well, we are still the details of the story are still kind of trickling in. So we know what you know in this case, but I mean,
we're still trying to figure the only things we have right now. ESPN had reported, and ESPN News Service has reported that Dwayne Haskins was with other Steeler quarterback, running backs, and wide receivers down in Florida. A little bit of a training camp going on over there. He was out on the highway, I believe.
They were running apparently on the highway, supposedly.
and Dwayne Haskins was struck by a dump truck. That's really all the details that we currently have regarding this matter. We
Now-
don't have any more.
Let's point something out here, just so people understand. A lot of reporting is being done on this story. We don't know, like you said, all the details. Adam Schefter, of all people, who's been controversial with the way he's reported certain things, put out a tweet earlier.
Involving the Commanders, involving the Commanders, funny enough.
Well, talking about Haskins, and then what did you say? It was struggling quarterback Dwayne Haskins, and people got sensitive over it. I mean,
Yes. So the full original tweet from Adam Schefter regarding his Dwayne Haskins tweet was a standout at Ohio State before struggling. Hang on, I'm still pulling. Okay. Dwayne Haskins, a standout at Ohio State before struggling to catch on with Washington and Pittsburgh in the NFL. Died this morning when he got hit by, again, it says a car. ESPN is saying it was a dump truck now, per his agent. This actually came, according to Schefter, from his agent, Cedric Saunders. Haskins would have turned 25 years old on May 3rd.
I mean, this is crazy.
Well, you know what makes this more tragic is that, again, Schefter, I mean, first of all, read the friggin' room, Adam. Second of all,
I put that in there too.
saying struggling to catch on. That's what makes it more tragic, because we hadn't yet seen the best of Dwayne Haskins.
And by the way, here's the proof.
And that was taken away from us.
But here's the proof. I found the tweet because, again, we learned, Nick, we say this all the time. When you put something out on Twitter, what happens even when you delete it?
It lives forever. It does not die. It's like a zombie. It keeps coming back.
I mean, first of all, let's say this. Fact is fact. He did struggle to catch on a little bit. He was a bit of a, I want to say head case, but he eventually, he was the third quarterback drafted, and everyone considered him the second of that 2019 NFL draft. The number one was obviously Kyler Murray.
Oh yeah, well,
obviously Kyler Murray. Haskins, however, did struggle. For his first 2 years over in Washington, was released, but Pittsburgh, he seemed to rebound. You didn't see it on the field, obviously, because they got Mason Rudolph and Ben Roethlisberger. Of course, Ben Roethlisberger now retired and now stepping in Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah, but we need to point out something here.
No, but I'm saying, but on the field, but in terms of like locker room and off the field matters, he was becoming a very well-liked person.
Yes. He actually was like, he also dealt with a reverse domestic violence situation, didn't he? Where he was actually allegedly being domestically abused by a woman.
Was that Haskins?
Yeah, I think it was actually. And that's why I said allegedly, because I'm not 100% sure. I thought I read that somewhere. But to go back to this tweet for a second, from deleted tweet now from Adam Schefter, people are too sensitive. I'm sorry. They really are. Like, I understand he died. We're not taking any umbrage in that. Let's be very clear with that. But he's just reporting the facts of the story.
My only question is why, because I noticed this is a thing about Schefter. Why does he do all of this description? Like, because if I was free, I would just say Dwayne Haskins dead this morning as a result of a crash.
I think that he's trying to do the faux, like, as if he's Walter Cronkite announcing to the nation that John F. Kennedy had been shot.
Well,
No. I guess I get that, but Twitter isn't exactly.
Yeah, Twitter doesn't do nuance, and it definitely doesn't do gravitas.
What's dangerous about accounts like Adam Schefter, Wojnarowski, who covers the NBA for ESPN, these guys have millions of followers. If they tweet out one thing, then you're in trouble. So, like, you have to be careful what you tweet.
But he's Adam Schefter, so he won't.
He just signed a new contract extension with ESPN as well. So he had to burn that contract in and get it going.
Well, I was to say this isn't the first time we're talking about the Commanders. Obviously, he was a Steelers quarterback now. Actually, that's another thing about this Haskins thing that's tragic. He just last month signed a new tender. He just came back to the team.
You know what? Everyone deserves a second chance in life. Sometimes certain situations don't work out. I think he was way overdrafted in the NFL draft, and the pressure was on him, and he never performed. So I think that's what happened there.
That goes to actually back to Dan Snyder and all of his controversies. That Snyder really wanted him because he was a local standout. Everyone else, there were several people around him that said no. Several people around him who had Danny as the number 2 quarterback over Dwayne. I even remember Nick Federa and I scratching our heads when they selected Danny.
It was bizarre. And actually, first comment on the board here from Anthony Price. I'm sorry, but who in the hell runs on the highway?
Well, again, it goes to that we don't have all the details. We're still trying to figure this story out. Like, what were they doing there? What the circumstances?
Was this a private area too? Because a lot of times these facilities are in private quarters, so to speak.
Yeah. So that doesn't really make sense to me. But again, with the information that we have right now, it seems to me like this is a freak thing, a tragedy, but a freak thing.
But you're missing something here too, which is you have all these big name guys who are reporting on these stories, and Mr. NFL Insider Adam Schefter, who thinks he knows everything before everybody else. He might have sources, but sources are not always right.
Sources are not always right, and had he been wrong about that, he definitely would have eaten the biggest.
I mean, in a way, I'd say this is stretching it a little bit, but in a way, he kind of was. There is a difference between a car and a dump truck.
Yes. I mean, I get it. Like, as Nick would say, you're splitting hairs a little, but at the same time, it is a different vehicle, a different thing.
Yeah, it is at this point, but unfortunately, the outcome is the same.
All right, but you thought Adam Schefter had the biggest controversy in terms of something out or saying something about Dwayne Haskins. No. About an hour or two ago, he got topped.
Excuse me, as I'm choking on all my comments. So I was talking to our good friend Nico, who's helping us with the podcast network. I'll leave where he works for now because I don't want to get him in trouble. But basically, he explained to me something that was going on at Sirius, and a certain controversy happened on Sirius XM NFL radio with Gil Brandt. Now, we all know, if most people don't know that name, he's been an executive. He was an executive, retired executive now, works on the radio side. And he kind of had some, how would you put it, untasteful opinions.
That's one way to put it. That's a little bit of an understatement, I'd say, Mr. Morgeson, but the most professional way to say it.
I'm just trying to be nice until everyone hears the opinions.
Yeah. At that point, yes.
All right, let's take a listen first. I'm just going to warn you right off the bat. I don't know. Should we give the disclaimer in a sense?
It's pretty insensitive.
It's insensitive. It's ridiculous, and it's been seen almost 1 million times now on social media. So here we go.
Oh, the young man a little bit, but also from a scouting standpoint, you analyzed him over the years at Ohio State and coming into the league with the Washington Commanders and then going to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, it's a terrible tragedy, and what wanted your thoughts on that, and also on the player because you did chronicle his career very closely.
Well, Dan. I hate anytime anybody is killed or anybody dies. But he was a guy that was living to be dead, so to speak. They told him, don't under any circumstances leave school early. You just don't have the work habits. You don't have this. You don't have that. What did he do? Left school early. I always can remember this. We invited players to the draft. And he was one of the players we invited to the draft, and we were told no. We're going to have our own party. His own party was a party at the bowling alley, charged him $50 to get into the bowling alley for his party. It was always something, It's one of those things. I'm never offside. but they keep calling me for offside. Is what it is. So, it's a tragic thing. Anytime anybody dies, it's tragic. And especially when you're 24 years old and you got your whole life ahead of you. But maybe if he'd have stayed in school a year, he wouldn't do silly things. I mean, when you're jogging on a highway, on a road like that leaves it open, because I tell you, it's so. Guy has 2 drinks and he's just a little bit to the right side of the road, and gets hit and killed. It's easy to happen.
Yeah.
All right, we'll stop there because that's where that whole thing is. But what the fuck?
Okay, so what this is the ramblings of I'm just going to call him an idiot. At this point, there really is. I mean, you thought Adam Schefter couldn't read the room. This is a guy who walks into a room with the lights off. Jesus.
I mean, this wait a minute.
Sorry,
This literally. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Gilbert's 90. God bless him, former NFL executive. But oof, read the room.
Wait. How about literally leave the room?
I mean, first of all, you have to go off on a tangent on some kind of bowling party you had.
No, wait a minute. Wait, hold on. So, Nick, would you classify that as getting up on a soapbox?
Yeah, he's getting up on a soapbox, but everybody else is going, get off!
I mean, I'm trying to be nice here, but what the fuck?
I mean, you can't. Even the most charitable interpretation of what we just heard is, yeah, he's blaming Dwayne Haskins for what he did. Yeah. I mean, it's a tragedy he died, but it was his fault.
All I could say is right now,
he shouldn't have left school. Then he wouldn't have died.
But wait a second. What do you think SiriusXM is thinking right now?
That he better not be allowed on any program ever again.
I mean, I know the dumb rule that the dumb cliche rule I'm going to bring up about publicity. Not that I agree with it, but I'm saying, do you think Sirius is looking at this and say, "Oh my God, we're getting noticed"?
I mean, they're not exactly Spotify words like, okay, Joe Rogan said something dumb again. Hey, at least it's getting us listens, but no.
Nick, the clip has been viewed close to 1 million times on Twitter.
I mean, you're in the radio business, so you tell me. What did they think?
So it all depends on what the story is and what the topic you're talking about. Death is a tough one, okay? It all depends on who dies, how important the person was. Sorry, but it's true. And how emotionally set the wound is and how close it happened to when you're reporting the story. So I think it was a little too soon on the trigger there, Mr. Brandt. Just a tad.
Just a hair.
Yes,
Just a smidge.
Because I know what Sirius is going to do now.
Vacillation.
Like,
I'm well deserved for it. I
mean, unfortunately, because again, I come from the radio business. He's got to go. I'm sorry, he's got to go.
Like I said, if we're giving Adam Schefter shit for telling some facts at an insensitive time, then something like this.
Yeah,
I mean,
Gil's got to remember.
Shoot him out of a cannon.
But
wait a second.
Basically, yeah.
Wait a minute. But Gil has to remember, he's in the NFL executive circle. Even though he's retired, he's in that club.
And how many executives you think at this point share his opinion, even though they would never actually say it out loud?
I hate to say this,
That's
unfortunately.
a rhetorical question, by the way.
No, but wait. I hate to say this, unfortunately, but do you think this has anything to do with race in any way?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
You're talking about Gil's comments?
Because of Dwayne Haskins.
Gil's comments, I can see it at least a little bit.
You can read the subtext. You could read what he's actually saying.
And let me clarify one thing. We're not making that assumption right off the bat. I'm just asking a question. Is it possible?
It wouldn't surprise me. I'll say it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
I'm not saying yes, but it wouldn't surprise me.
And I don't want people going in our comments section and say, oh, well, we turned it into a race thing. No, we're not turning it into a race thing. I'm making an analysis based off the comments that he made.
Based on how they worded their reactions to it. I mean, Schefter is to several degrees less, if that's the case. But in Gil Brandt's case, I mean, Jesus Christ.
I mean, you gotta, like, as Tom, I'll say what Tom said again. Read the room. Seriously, read the room. Whew. That's all I can say.
It's a tragedy, absolute tragedy at this point. That's all we can really say. We are going to have AJ Perez of Front Office Sports coming on in about
10 minutes
or so. Before we get to him, let's just talk about the story for just a little bit. Dan Snyder, once again, in the midst of controversy. This story actually first coming out right after we went off the air last week and has evolved over this past week. For those kind of unaware, might have been flying under the radar, Snyder allegedly has been withholding revenue from other NFL teams. Now, I'm actually going to quote right from AJ Perez's story from last week because it actually makes reference to NFL bylaws. So
this is the scoop. Just to clarify, this is the scoop that he got.
Yeah, so according to NFL bylaws, all teams are required to pass along 40% of ticket sales from each home game, minus ticket handling charges and taxes to the league, which would then disperse those funds to the visiting teams. At least one person has given information to Congress. Investigators in Congress that alleges the Commanders didn't pass along the full 40%. And this is actually two anonymous sources told AJ this. So,
see, what's so crazy about this, and I'm going to ask him this question, but I'm going to throw it out to you guys as well. Have you noticed the trail of cookies? And I'm using cookies because I'm being facetious here. The cookies being left behind of a trail of everything that Daniel Snyder has done, and that the NFL has not gotten involved and said, this trail keeps getting bigger. Maybe we should do something.
Well, it's just amazing. How does he survive each and every time? Now, there's a difference in this one.
He's in the owners club.
This is a sin against fellow owners. This is not a sin against your employees or your players, or, you're not going on to the sexual assault trail that the NFL, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. This is a sin against your fellow owners. This is a sin on the people.
You're taking money out of their pocket, and they can't abide by that.
You're taking money out of the pockets, remember, that hire Roger Goodell and the other commissioners that the commissioner has to work for.
But wait a second.
And that I think is the key point here. He works for them, not the other way around.
But there's something that doesn't make sense here, every team has to give away 40% of the revenue just to get it back from other teams.
That's how the revenue sharing works. They define that in the CBA. However, I mean, I could imagine, perjury in front of a congressional subcommittee would really be a big feather in Dan Snyder's cap. I mean, God knows if he gets out of this one, but he seems to be made of Teflon.
But wait a second. So, and there's another part of this which makes no sense. Every time a team employee is involved in everything that he does. Everything.
Yeah, because again, the people that work for him have been shouting to the heavens, look at the illegal shit this man has done.
Actually, yeah, I was just about to go to that. Yep.
Anthony Price comment. Dan is one of the 3 richest owners in the NFL. The NFL is protecting its top money owners. Will they be willing to do that though in a case like this?
He's stealing money from them though.
Yeah, you're in a whole different situation.
If the riches that he's gaining are coming off the backs of the other owners, can they abide by that though? Because this is not. Look, he already made that point, so I'm not going to rehash that.
No, but he's right. I think he owns one of the biggest newspapers in Washington. I think he owns the ESPN affiliate down in Washington.
No, I know, but I'm just saying Tom already made that point, so I'm not going to. I'm not going to rehash it.
But Nick, they did the classic. I don't know what you're talking about. What story are you talking about? I don't know.
This thing that I'm alleging never happened.
No, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It never happened.
No hablo inglés.
Exactly. And I'm like, what are you talking about? This is Daniel Snyder we're talking about here.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch.
More German.
More German.
So, I mean, you were literally talking about like, not that one, taking a dump on society. Well,
I mean, at this point, is society really to blame for Dan Snyder, or is Dan Snyder the architect of his own controversy? I really do, because it really seems like he's testing what he can get away with. Okay, what if I steal from them? Can I get away from that? What? Okay, what if I try to blow the stadium up and blame it on somebody else? Could I get away with that? I mean, at this point, this is like 80s cartoon villainy. This is Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget. This is Dick fucking Dastardly.
Wow, you just went Inspector Gadget classic. Wow.
So the story actually continues. It is not clear how long this alleged scheme ran for or who authorized it. The Commanders in the NFL learned about the allegations in recent weeks. An NFL spokesperson declined comment when reached for comment by Front Office Sports. However, the Commanders released a statement that says, quote, "There has been absolutely no withholding of ticket revenue at any time by the Commanders. Those revenues are subject to independent audits by multiple parties. Anyone who offered testimony suggesting withholding revenue has committed perjury, plain and simple." That's strong language.
That is strong equivocating. But again,
I haven't used this.
See no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
So actually, no, it actually continues. It gets even better. Minutes after that statement, the attorney of a former longtime Commanders employee
I saw this. Yeah.
who worked in the ticket front office responded to that statement with a statement of their own. This is attorney Lisa Banks. The Washington Commanders just released a statement to members of the media.
I saw
In that statement, they defamed my client, Jason Friedman, who came forward at the request of the Congressional Oversight Committee and testified truthfully with evidence. Unfortunately, Mr. Friedman is unable to defend himself publicly due to contractual constraints that prevent him from speaking freely. He would be happy to recount his testimony if Dan Snyder and the Washington Commanders allow him to do so. I will await their response.
I'm sorry, I have to do this.
Anthony Price, actually, interesting comment. People trying to kick Dan out for years. It's not working. He's not going anywhere.
You want to know why it's not working? Because
he's going to give the team to his wife and still be in control undercover.
Actually, we see that.
Gracious, Anthony, you've thought this out.
I actually could see that, though.
It's actually true. Look at the Saints. Look at the Saints.
Yeah, you're right.
It's probably gonna. I could see that happening. Honestly,
so unfortunately,
he's right too. He's absolutely 100% right.
Teams, unfortunately, and not just the NFL, it's any sport, it runs in the family because they don't want to lose the revenue source. That's why they do that.
But this is why I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this is analogous to Saturday morning cartoon supervillainy. That's what this is. He's not even comic book supervillain. He's not even Lex Luthor.
Are you saying Dan Snyder has a Skeletor laugh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I would have pinned.
You'll never stop me this time, Roger.
I would have pinned.
You're saying Roger Goodell is He-Man. I never want to hear that comparison again.
He-Man. But I was gonna say Dan Snyder I kind of pinned Dan Snyder more for the Joker than anything.
Oh, please, he's not as charismatic. You need to be charismatic to be the Joker. He's not that, believe me.
I mean, this whole situation.
Look at all the failure.
I mean, this between the cheerleader investigation and now, I don't know, would you consider this supposedly money laundering? I guess in a sense?
Mean, it's definitely
it's withholding money.
Embezzlement.
I mean, holy shit! Like, come on.
Now, I want to go to a question just so, since we're discussing, the story amongst ourselves. I have a question actually that connects with, the interview we're going to do with AJ. Do you see this ruffling the feathers of those small market teams?
No.
Oh, I mean, I could.
Absolutely not.
I could. Because, again, you're taking money out of my pocket, and God knows I'm not going to spend it, so where else is it coming from?
You know why they're not going to care? Because they'll just do their own incidents. They don't give a shit about other teams. They'll just try to take money for themselves.
That is a good point. Because, if there's one thing I have been underestimating consistently over the years, it's how slimy NFL owners can be.
Also,
you're just figuring this out now? Robert Kraft?
Yes, I understand. If they were any slimier, you could kill them with a box of salt, but still.
Also, there's a whole bunch of stories going on over the last 24 hours talking about if there's any clamor for the Commanders to say. So a couple of days ago, Maryland House of Representatives actually okayed a $400 million plan to help keep the NFL's Commanders in Landover, Maryland. It now is going to go to the Senate. It would be $200 million to renovate minor league baseball stadiums around the state and use the money to use the money from state lottery to build infrastructure around the county. But there, according to the Washington Post, however, there are some who basically see little benefit to the team even sticking around the area in Landover.
At this point, it's more trouble than it's worth.
I mean, I think the commander's name is ironic at this point, and because literally Daniel Snyder is the commander of the crew doing dumb things. But all right, let's hold off on that. Our guest has entered the room. You ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, let's get AJ in here. Hey, AJ, what's up?
Hello, AJ.
Hi.
Not much. How's it going? How you guys doing?
It's good.
We're doing good. We're doing good. Thanks for coming on.
No problem.
So, welcome to Empty the Bench. So we've got a couple questions to ask you. So who starts it off?
Actually,
I'll give it a start. So, one, congratulations on the story. It's really well done. You wrote a really amazing story about the Commanders and their ticket revenue scandal. We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But what are your initial thoughts on the Dwayne Haskins news?
Oh man, it was so tragic. The details are still coming out. It's sad. 24-year-old. He was down there working hard with his current team, the Steelers, and it was like he's still young. He had time to rebound. He had time to he was a star at Ohio State. He was very well thought of coming in. And obviously things didn't pan out here in Ashburn for him, but there's still more. There's still so much, potential. And anytime any person that age dies unexpectedly, it's tragic. And it's kind of sad. You mentioned Gil Brandt earlier. Yeah, I was watching. That was so out of line. I mean, this is why he hasn't been in. This is why he hasn't worked as a executive in any NFL team for 30 freaking years. Stuff like that. So and it's it's sad, and Schefter's original tweet wasn't great. I don't fault that was probably an unintentional error versus what Brandt spewed on Sirius XM today. But that's and Schefter's gotten in trouble before. I know, and he makes $9 million a year, and people should expect a little more from him. I understand, but it's that's so out of line. That's you don't mention. You don't even speculate. Gilbrand speculate. We don't even know. He could have ran out of gas and freaking got out of his car and get hit by another vehicle. We don't know at this point. So it's just sad. And it's like, I've covered this stuff. I'm not covering this one, but I've covered a lot of other athletes who died unexpectedly from either accidents or crime. It's sad. It sucks. And I am not totally pleased with some of the coverage out there. And that's not I wouldn't say the coverage. I would say some of the punditry out there.
So to go on to the story that you reported, AJ, for those that aren't exactly aware of the situation at hand involving Washington Commanders, the owner Dan Snyder, this alleged lack of revenue sharing, can you explain the story and just take us into the research process, how this whole story kind of came together for you?
More than 2 weeks ago, I got a hint that, or a tip that from one of my sources, that the investigation would start in October after the John Gruden emails leaked. Congress got involved. The House Oversight Committee announced an investigation days later into the hostile workplace claims that were subject of Beth Wilkinson's investigation, which concluded in July with that $10 million fine of the team. And then guidelines were laid out by, there was no written report, which everybody is still mad about. A lot of people are still mad about. I would love to see the findings. And there were guidelines, and then Dan Snyder stepped down, even though he said him and his rep said that it was nothing due to any recommendations from Wilkinson or the league. So it was kind of dying down. And then those emails came out. It forced John Gruden out of the Raiders. And then, the speculation begins who who leaked it and everything else. But then, this investigation starts, and they were stymied for the first couple months of it from getting documents. Now I reported on Thursday that they've gotten over 200,000 documents now, and that includes some of the ones that those are 109,000 from Beth Wilkinson's investigation that were kind of in limbo for a couple months. Not that the Washington Post reported it was due to an agreement between the Commanders and the league about releasing certain things, but it was actually that was less of a part of it. It was just like there was privileged information between attorneys and clients that could not be released. This is going back there. So basically, I was told, I got a hint of it it was a week ago Thursday is when I reported about this investigation shifting. That was after going to Congress, after going to the NFL owners meetings down in Florida. And the entire time I knew I was gathering more and more and more. And I notified the team executives while I was down there in West Palm Beach about it, that I was working on it. And I was giving them a heads up because I didn't know I needed some more confirmation. I was comfortable enough on Thursday to report the first part. And then the second part a week ago today was I finally got confirmation of what that scheme may have been alleged. It was alleged to Congress. That's why I reported it. Not putting any weight. I'm not going to put any. I'm not saying that it actually happened. I'm saying that it was actually told to Congress. That's all I could say. I know this is still an investigation. I don't have all the details. I have a little more details I'm still working on. But basically, the team, this former ticket employee, told in an interview with Congress, he was one of at least two people interviewed who used to work for the team in either the ticketing or the finance side. Told Congress that they were not. That the team, we don't know how many years this went on, or how long, or who authorized it, but alleged that that they were holding back some of the 40% of the ticket revenue that's supposed to go to the league, and then the league disperses it to the visiting teams. So that was so we don't know how much they held back, but from what it looks like, it would not be that much. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, which sound for us is a lot of money, but for the NFL, these owners, not that big of a deal. But the bigger deal is if the NFL Player Association jumps into this, because if this goes out over multiple seasons, we're talking about CBA violations. We're talking about a major lawsuit. It would be a headache for the NFL. So the owners losing money, not the hugest deal. The players losing out because that 40% is counted towards the cap. That's how they come up with it. And so that's so that if this goes back multiple seasons and across multiple CBAs, even it's not going to be good for the Commanders. But they're denying it. They've come out strongly. It took them 2 days to get a statement out, but I contacted them 2 hours before my story went live last Saturday, and they didn't comment until Monday, which is fine, whatever. But I did, so I didn't blindside anybody with that story. And then they've come out against this former ticket employee was there for more than 20 years. And now they're challenging him to file a defamation suit. His lawyer says, well, let him out of his, basically what likely is a non-disclosure agreement so he can talk to the media or whoever else he wants to talk to. He was given there are limited exceptions to NDAs to talking to investigators. And it appears Congress, this congressional investigation was, he was totally compliant with his NDA to talk to them.
Wow. Where do I want to go? Oh, I'll go with this one. So it seems every time we blink, another allegation from a current or former employee comes out in this organization. Do you have any info on what the employee practices are like inside the Commanders franchise? And is it a cliche saying it starts with the owner, or is it more complicated than that?
I would say it's safe to say it starts with the owner. He's been the owner it's not like he got the team yesterday. He's been the owner for more than 20 years. And it was kind of during his tenure, going back to late 90s, early 2000s. He was he was more hands-on than he is now, and so there were a lot of things going on. And I think I think if he ever did an interview, he would actually admit that he made some missteps in those early years. Now, did that set him up for failure for the next 20-something years? No, but he could have. There's certain things. A lot of it, looks like a lack of oversight than more than anything. That he was not in enough control of the team at times. He let, for example, he let Bruce Allen run it into the ground. That's pretty much, and even hiring Bruce was kind of, I would say, like it made some people like, whoa. And when he got fired, there were people around the league that were like, well, it's about time. Because, he was not he was known for a lot of the stuff you saw in those emails. I've talked to women executives over the years. They were not fans of him. And it wasn't shocking that what he was sending around the emails, obviously it was shocking with John Gruden. That wasn't really known, but no one was shocked by Bruce Allen saying those things. He's made some decisions Snyder has that haven't really done him any favors. And I'm not saying that's that's all on him, but a lot of this is I think a lot of it is, most of this is really, a lot of this hatred is because the team doesn't win.
I mean, do you see this incident ruffling the feathers of some of the smaller market teams in the league? Do you see this as the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of finally not letting Dan Snyder get away with anything else?
No. As far as we're not talking about, I'm not talking a ton of money. It would actually hurt the Cowboys and the Eagles. And, from what I understand, because those are the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, those NFC East teams that come to town, that's when they sell tickets. They sold tickets a lot more last few years to visiting fans. That's what boosted the attendance. So they would be shorting them if this actually happened. It would be shorting them more. As far as an appetite to throw Snyder out, this is a headache, and he's given the owners a lot of headaches. But right now, one of my sources said it's like, unless the owners rise up and there's a block of them to push this issue, it's not going to result in removal, even if he's linked to doing what I reported last Saturday. It's still, because it's they stick together. Being an NFL owner is like being justice on the Supreme Court. Yeah. So you really have to do a lot to get removed. It's never happened in the modern NFL. It's happened in other sports, but the setup's so much different. Goodell could put him up for a vote for removal. It's not going to happen. Maybe if he had 30 other owners plus the Green Bay Packers, who are publicly owned, on their side, 30 plus the Packers, maybe Goodell would step up. But it would, the most likely route, if he's linked to anything like it would happen with Richardson, in Carolina, he'd sell the team. So, but we're so far from that. And as of right now, Snyder's pretty well entrenched.
I just want to follow up with one thing. Would you consider this close to a Donald Sterling situation with the Clippers, or no?
No. Even though he was, caught on tape saying really dumb stuff, he had also not been he was not the most beloved owner in the NBA. That was it. And Snyder has his fans. I quoted Jerry Jones in my story last week. He's like, yeah, Snyder could be here. He could run the team. There's no limitations. We like Tanya, who's been at the last two owners meetings, Snyder's wife, who took over day to day allegedly, and has co-CEO, co-owner titles. That was back to July when she took that role. But it's there's really, I don't think there's not much there. Now, when you talk about money, even a little bit of money, owners do care about that, but it's going to be, they also don't want to, set a precedent by removing Snyder, especially without, proof that this actually happened. And without, that's why I think this current investigation led by Mary Jo White, which was launched after the latest allegations against Snyder, that's going to be a written report, and she could make recommendations that could, that could, cause them problems. I have asked the league whether she's allowed to look in the financial side of it, and I have not heard back about that question. I have heard back about other stuff, but not about that.
And so I guess we have the connection with the other owners, how everybody kind of bands together. Because David, that's why how Dan Snyder has just managed to survive controversy after controversy, whether it's the cheerleaders, whether it's employee practices. There always seems to be some sort of trouble involving Dan Snyder, and yet he persists on and he continues to be the owner despite all the controversies.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like every time I do a story on Snyder, people are like, this is going to be the end, and it never is. It's going to be, and I feel bad for the Washington Commander fans because they've been, a lot of people are just, just upset and just can't believe the team hasn't been successful. It's like this was a franchise that was pretty much on par with the top 1 or 2, 3 franchises in the NFL when he took over. And granted, he got stuck with a really crappy stadium. with FedEx. Not a great stadium. It was outdated when it opened. It was built on the cheap by Jack Kent Cooke, and now he's looking for a new stadium. And, in a couple of weeks in Virginia, there'd be another, that will, we'll see if that's going to happen there, or there's some proposal for redoing FedEx, even though the Maryland proposal for Prince George's County doesn't include any money for a stadium. There's always the outside shot of RFK, but I think that's the next thing. It's like, does this hurt him getting this more money for more public funding for a stadium? Because you got New York and Erie County gave the Bills or are going to be giving the Bills $850 million, and we're talking about maybe $350 million with a lot of provisions in that contract that the team would have to meet if they get this money in Virginia.
So, final question, AJ, and we appreciate you coming on and spending time with us. We look at the NFL owners as an exclusive club where basically they get to do whatever they want when they want. Are you surprised when you see a story like this with Daniel Snyder where they're willing to do anything to put money in their own pockets? Does this shock you at all or no?
No. I mean, I would say no, but it's just because Snyder has, he screwed with the rules before. I know the rules before. The last time he got in trouble was for at least for the financial side of it, was when the uncapped year before the lockout. He got the cap space got taken away from him and Jerry Jones with the Cowboys, and that's that started a feud between Goodell. I don't know if it's basically that was one of the things that between Goodell and Snyder. That's why there's been rumblings over the years that that they don't really see eye to eye on certain things, and I think that he's still even though that the executives who actually did that circumvention of the gap or got well are long gone, that he still is not a big fan of Goodell after that. But there's people, and I'm not saying Snyder is one of them, but there's people who are gonna cheat just to just to do it. I'm not saying Snyder's. I'm not saying that it's that's Snyder. But there's people like, oh wow, there's just that's not that much money, a few $100,000. I'm like, I mean, he's a billionaire. Why does he do that? Well, people do a lot of stupid things, and you can't always explain it. And I'm not saying Snyder did this at all, and I'm not going into his psyche, but by saying that. But there are people who try to get away with things, just try to, whether it's speeding or doing other things, that's just people. That's just the way some people are put together, basically.
Considering it's a small amount of money, by the way, just to follow up, I guess that means could you see any changes to the revenue sharing process, or probably not?
No, well, we're kind of baked into the CBA for 9 more years, so or 8 more years, 8 or 9 more years. So that I don't see that now. If the NFLPA, which does have rights to the audits, if they find something there, that could lead to some kind of intra CBA changes. I think there could be they can come and amend anything they want anytime, even though the CBA is set. That that's been done over the years. That's for example, HGH testing was put in the last CBA after it had been ratified. And the NFL players fought for, going back to Gene Upshaw, fought a long time not to allow them to have any kind of blood testing. Gene Upshaw is like, I don't want my players to become pincushions kind of thing. So yeah, there's always things that can be worked out during a CBA, but I think they may, if what I'm hearing and how they work this scheme, this alleged scheme, there could be ways they're going to be changing the audit system. I think that because the way this is explained to me from a couple sources, it was done in a way that where it wouldn't raise suspicion. So
yeah, well, this has been a interesting, unique, crazy story. Follow AJ on Twitter at @AJ Perez. Find him on Front Office Sports. This story was great, AJ, and thanks for taking some time out to come join us.
Thank you, AJ.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, AJ. See you
guys later.
See you.
Take care. Okay, so that was AJ Perez of Front Office Sports. Big thank you to him once again for joining us. And man, what a story! Just a lot of complexities to all this and all this investigating. And man,
I'm stunned. Like some of the stuff that he found out in this story. Like talking to government agents, talking to Congress, he was telling us things that we haven't even heard.
I mean, at this point, it was kind of disheartening. It's like, okay, yeah, we know nothing's going to change, but I mean, Was it really that foolhardy to hope?
No, but he was exposing. He basically exposed Daniel Snyder.
Yeah. Just like,
and it's sad that it seems like it might not be enough money to create any big change.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that it's not. That's all I'm saying.
But wow! But thanks to AJ, we've had AJ on before on past shows. And what was the last one we had him on? Do you remember?
Might be the podcast days.
Unspoken podcast days. Was it college basketball controversy? I think.
Was it around the college athletes getting paid or no?
It might have been the Louisville thing. I have to double check.
Oh, that sounds right. Yeah, he was one of the first to break that story too.
Yes, because he was at USA Today. We were doing the Urban Meyer situation. No, I would say it wasn't college basketball. It was the Urban Meyer story.
Right, the Urban Meyer story. That's right. I mean, I give him credit. He really knows his stuff.
All right.
So,
we got a lot more stories we got to get through. So
just before we go there, this interview will be posted separately on our social media platform. So if you want to check it out separately, make sure you go to our Empty the Bench Podcast Network YouTube channel. It will be up there.
Yes. All right. We have several more stories we got to get through. So let's run through them. So another big football story. Once again, Deshaun Watson continues to be a weekly presence on this podcast. It continues to be a weekly presence involving Nick Morgeson here.
Wait, I hear it in the distance.
That wasn't the sound effect I was going for, but Empty the Bench will take a trip to the circus that is Deshaun Watson's lawsuits. I was gonna go, Nick, instead for the block sound effect, considering that this podcast account and you are still blocked by Deshaun Watson.
Did someone say block?
Block.
All right,
oh God!
Did someone say flush a career down the toilet?
All right, so a judge has ruled that Deshaun Watson must address his history with massage therapists. Now, specifically, he means that the judge has ruled that Deshaun Watson must testify whether or not he had sexual relations with 18 of the 22 massage therapists of the 22 women that are suing him. Obviously, the criminal charges are not going to happen anymore. Obviously, that has been dropped, but we still have the matter of the civil lawsuit, which is also why the NFL has, as stated by the statement that it released last week, not enacted anything regarding Deshaun Watson.
So he thinks he's Bill Clinton then?
I mean, we've spent most of.
Well, he hasn't said no. That's the thing.
I did not have sex with that woman.
I mean, we've been doing a 90s redux for about, I don't know how. So the Cold War is back. So why not that?
I mean, this whole thing is nuts. I'm finally glad that a judge came out and is actually holding Deshaun Watson accountable for his actions, unlike public figures that they don't hold their actions accountable.
I mean, this is about players, you see, not about owners. See, the players they don't give shit about. The owners, however, they are just the most perfect cherubic angels, and they must be protected with everything they have.
You know what is annoying me right now? I want to talk baseball in the worst way possible, but we get stuck with NFL headlines when the NFL season is not even here.
We're still a couple of weeks away, actually 3 weeks away from, not even 3, a little less than 3 from the draft. Was it April 28th?
Yep.
Oh God.
I mean,
ladies and gentlemen, it's just it just sucks. It really just sucks.
I mean, so is this going to change anything with this? I don't know if it does. I think this thing will play out like it plays out, and then eventually, once this whole civil lawsuit plays out, then as you quoted me in the intro, 4 games or 6 games.
No, 2 games, 2 checks. 2 checks.
I'm tired. I want to just say bye, Felicia, to Roger Goodell at this point.
All right. Speaking of the NFL and speaking of trouble, so remember the Brian Flores thing that that quickly collapsed, and now Steve Wilks and Ray Horton are joining this lawsuit against the NFL. By the way, apparently something that happened with remember the whole thing about Tom Brady possibly going to the Dolphins?
Oh, you mean the story that got updated since then, that he was going to be a part owner and a quarterback?
And let's say this whole thing, apparently Brian Flores exposed this is from Desmond on PFT, that apparently Brady never intended to retire. He wanted to lead the Bucs and become part owner of the Dolphins.
Actually,
where they would hire Sean Payton and Brady would become the new quarterback. And
actually, believe it or not, I saw that sourced out of Front Office Sports too.
So,
well,
ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I don't know if why is it that they think that Tom Brady is at all times playing six-dimensional chess? Seriously, they think he.
This story is like a soap opera.
I mean, at a certain point, it wouldn't. I mean, if it's soap opera, then where's his evil twin?
I mean, are we expecting anything to happen with this Brian Flores lawsuit? No.
No, unfortunately, I hate to be as cynical. I hate to be as cynical as AJ. I mean, AJ would know. I mean, he's seen it all. He's seen the best and the worst. So, unfortunately, no.
This lawsuit is going nowhere. I mean, if enough people jump on it, maybe they'll at least take it to court. But it's not going to go anywhere.
They'll get away with it, and they'll forget. The people will forget, and they'll move on.
You know what they'll do?
Yeah,
they'll give him money, and they'll just say, "Here you go." But wait a minute, they'll Colin Kaepernick the situation, make it go away.
Oh God!
Yeah, like a liar. Settle.
By the way, he supposedly made like $80 or $90 million off that settlement, Colin Kaepernick. I'm not even kidding.
You know what? He deserves it. He deserves it,
and he's trying to come back.
Yeah, like of course, Brian Flores is suing them for discrimination, but yeah, they'll definitely take a chance on Colin Kaepernick because it's not like they'll hate him to his grave. Ugh,
this story is crazy. I mean, I can't take it seriously until I see it go to court and actually they litigate. That's the only way I can take this seriously.
Oh,
all right, one last football story. And we can be done. Bills have given Stefon Diggs a 4-year, $104 million extension.
So, speaking about this from the son of an aggrieved Vikings fan, I just, this deal just keeps getting worse for the Vikings every fucking time.
Nick, you can't dismiss Justin Jefferson though, who's probably the best receiver in the NFC North now that Devontae Adams has been shipped.
You can't do that. But again, Vikings fans are believe me. I am the son of one. They'll never forgive the Vikings for trading for letting Stefon Diggs walk. You can't. And the Bills, he's just making he makes their entire receiving core better. And it's just, you know what? Good on the Bills. That's all I can say. Good on the Bills.
What is this? Just jealousy because the Vikings can't keep anybody with longer term contracts?
As the Jim Lawson's once saying, "Hey, jealousy."
I can be offended on behalf of my father.
Yeah, but you're not a Vikings fan. Why is this bothering you as much?
Because if he's not happy, I'm not happy.
But wait a minute. So if this happened to the Giants, would you do the same thing if he walked away?
No, I'd probably be camping outside the mayor's office with a pitchfork and a torch. I'm just saying there are levels to which I can deal with things. That's like going from a 6 to about a 12 or a 13.
I mean, holy crap! I didn't expect you to go off on the Vikings. Like,
all right, let's get to some baseball. So, can we talk about this strange story involving Acuna Jr. and Freddie Freeman that these two supposedly have a big rift?
So apparently Ronald Acuna Jr.
Oh, wait on.
See, so apparently Ronald Acuna was quoted as saying that he won't miss Freddie Freeman because apparently there was a lot of tension, he put it, between the two of them.
I had the quote. I suppose that this is the supposed translation from an interview Acuna did with Janssen Pujols. I won't miss Freddie Freeman. We had friction. He didn't care when I was plunked. Freddie was overbearing and he wasn't someone I could talk to ever.
Really?
Apparently there was a 2018 incident between the two. But Acuna Jr. is saying that, he never said that. Now,
he didn't say it now.
Okay, well, hang on. So here's where this story goes. So Freddie Freeman had a response about clashes, about the claim. So let's see, hang on. Freeman said, I didn't view it as friction or clashes or anything like that. I loved Ronald. I still love Ronald, and I'm going to miss Ronald. Now, a couple of days ago, Acuna clarified some comments. Actually, this comes from a story on MLB.com. He said, translated from Spanish, the reporters exaggerated. I didn't say anything bad about Freeman. I talked about what happened in 2018 when I was a rookie. The rest was blown out of proportion. Acuna explained that some of the displeasures, an incident with Freddie from the outfielders rookie season, Freddie Freeman and some other veterans apparently pulled the young outfielder aside and wiped some eye black off of his face that he didn't appreciate.
Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, I'm inclined to believe what Ronald Acuna said in this interview. Of course, I'm not buying the Shaggy defense. I'm not buying that at all. I didn't say that. It wasn't me. So,
wow, I haven't heard that reference in a long time from you.
But it is the Shaggy defense. It wasn't me. I didn't say that.
I mean, I have to, again. I can't believe I had to use this 2 weeks in a row.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
So, I don't know. Who do we put the blame on in this one?
We could definitely. I think this might explain why I think the Braves weren't that broken up about him going to the Dodgers.
Wait a second. Now, of course, I'm going to have a little bit of a hot take-ish opinion here again. Ronald Acuna Jr. is a punk. Okay?
Why do you say that?
He's a young all-star. Typical young all-stars now in Major League Baseball think that they're better than everybody else that they're around. Okay? Freddie Freeman came up in the organization many countless years where the Braves were horrible. I kind of
feel for Freeman because like we said, when he was asked for comment, it's like he's holding back. Like, what the hell?
And by the way, Ronald Acuna, the guy who can't stay on the field because he keeps getting hurt, you're going to blame him after Freddie Freeman stayed on the field and won this team a World Series?
Injury, Nick. One pretty devastating, unfortunate injury.
He's been hurt a little bit here and there. I didn't say whole seasons.
Yeah, and it's not like he took a ball-peen hammer to his own knee and go.
Yeah, but the problem is Ronald Acuna Jr. We've seen this before. Where he has a little bit of an ego, big ego, I should say.
And why is that? Again, why is that a deal breaker for you? Baseball players, in fact, I would say, are egotistical.
But by the way, timeout. If it wasn't for Freddie Freeman, they don't win that World Series.
I understand that, but you know what? He was being honest, and look. I mean, it doesn't mean that everybody has to like each other. May I point to the example of the 77 Yankees or the 86 Mets? Those teams hated each other.
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, Ronald Acuna shouldn't be talking considering he was out all season.
Again, I mean, I think he was just a little bit too honest, and I think that he probably didn't tell Freddie Freeman that he didn't like him that much.
I'll ask you another question to play devil's advocate. If that was Ronald Acuna going to the Dodgers, would you be saying the same thing?
Would Freddie Freeman be saying the same thing?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, because did you look at his response? He said he's pretty much saying WTF. He had
no idea.
No, but I'm saying, would you react the same way if it was the opposite and Freddie Freeman said something?
Freddie Freeman was taking shots at Ronald Acuna.
Because Freddie Freeman has been around a lot longer than Ronald Acuna Jr. has.
Yeah, but again, Freddie Freeman didn't have a problem allegedly with Ronald Acuna. It's Acuna who has the problem with Freddie.
But this is the whole.
But if there is a fault with anything that he said, I mean, if you have a problem, talk to Freddie about it. I mean, air it out. I mean, there's no going back and forth.
Why do players in any sport think that the right, and you know where I'm going with this, why do they go to the media rather than saying, hey, let's go behind closed doors, let's hash this out, even if we have to bare knuckle brawl in the process of it, and let's just get this out of the way, like Aaron Judge and the Yankees, which we'll get to in a second. But this whole thing is stupid. Ronald Acuna is being stupid.
I see. That's just baseball players being baseball players.
No, stop giving them excuses.
I'm not giving them excuses. I'm saying this is who they are, so expect no less. No less.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a little old-fashioned when it comes to all-stars and how they...
There's a difference between old-fashioned and that those young punks stole my Werther's original. That's what that is.
Yeah, you're going on to the ladder, Nick.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, what did you say?
You're going on to you're approaching the ladder stage with that take.
I'm just saying, I think he's a jerk.
I'm not saying you're going into Gil Brandt direction, but I'm saying.
I mean,
well, first of all, the difference between me and Gil Brandt is I would never wish for someone to be dead.
I mean, of course not. You're not a monster, but still, there's an old man shaking his fist at clouds, and then those young punks stole my hard candy.
Oh, I think Ronald Acuna Jr. wants to be on the Dodgers because he knows the Dodgers are the best team.
We'll see about that. Either. I don't know. I think the Dodgers and Braves will meet in the NLCS, and then we'll find out.
And then we're going to find that out.
I think we all predicted that, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so that it is what it is.
All right, let's talk about this Aaron Judge thing.
So, boy.
As I said in my minute this morning, as I talked about, Aaron Judge and the Yankees were unable to come to an extension agreement. They had offered him a 7-year, $213.5 million extension. Supposedly, Judge wanted 9 years. That would take him to age 40.
Wait, he wanted 9 years? I didn't hear that.
Supposedly, he wanted... Hang on.
Holy shit. What?
Hang on.
Holy crap.
According to... Let's see. I'm trying to...
I mean, I'm looking it up myself.
I'm going to look at it. Well, here's fan-sided. Hey, that sounds familiar. It says apparently Judge. Okay, there we go. NJ.com's Brandon Cootie. He wanted 9 years because that would have made him $30.5 million. As I said in a minute, that would have made him the second highest paid outfielder in terms of AAV, only behind. Take a guess who?
Garrett Cole.
No.
Oh,
no,
Mike Trout.
outfielder.
Mike Trout. Yeah.
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, I mean. The Yankees, I'm just going to say it right here. The Yankees cannot let this man go. They cannot. He is the heart and soul and face of this franchise. You are not going anywhere without Aaron Judge.
But Nick, let me play. But you would pay him more than Mike Trout?
Hell no. I wouldn't pay him more than Mike Trout.
What he's been able to do.
Is he better than Mike Trout, Nick?
Do you even know what Mike Trout is basically in the middle of baseball Siberia?
Well, wait a minute.
But as a player, Nick.
Wait a minute, Nick. We're not talking about the teams. If we were comparing teams, then obviously Aaron Judge would be on the better team. We're talking about skill and ability here.
Aaron Judge, you don't think Aaron Judge contributes more to the Yankees than Mike Trout does?
No. Hell no. Mike Trout has to carry the Angels.
And if you're going to say Shohei Ohtani's had, what, one healthy season?
Yes.
And nobody's talking about Mike Trout anymore. Look,
okay, you want to go? Let's do by the numbers. You want to go by the numbers? Okay, by the numbers. Mike Trout's batting stats through April 7th. 305 batting average, 1,420 hits, 310 home runs, 816 RBIs, 203 stolen bases. Aaron Judge has 158 home runs, a 276 batting average, and 366. I think what's going on, because as it just hit me, what's going on with this rift. Once again, what team do the Yankees want to be? Because Mike Trout's the old school hitter. Aaron Judge
the
is
average hitter. Yeah. I mean, Nick, Mike Trout is definitely the better overall player. First of all, more experience always plays. Two, Judge is looking to take the ball out of the ballpark all the time.
Here's what I would say. Would I pay Aaron Judge to have his AAV be the highest on the team over Garrett Cole? Yes. Would I pay him for his AAV to be over Mike Trout?
Well, you're missing.
I think part of it, guys, is let's face it. With over these last couple of seasons, I don't know if Garrett Cole's playing up to his contract.
He's not. And
he's only been here. He has been he has been the stopper. He has been the ace. Even yesterday when he didn't have it, he buckled down.
Wait, but you have to. There's also another difference between.
But if you're but I'm saying I'm trying to get into Nick's mind. But if you're saying then that Aaron Judge, if you're saying that Aaron Judge, is the face of the team over Garrett Cole, that you have to pay him more than Garrett Cole.
Yes, you do. However, I understand that this comes from a place of bias. I believe me, I understand that. But there is a medium that the team can come to that is between what Judge wants and what the Yankees
obviously they can't because they didn't come to a deal before the season.
It's obvious that what the Yankees offered is all what they're willing to do. But you can come to a medium. You can
Nick,
come to
and I'm not fighting here. Nick, I'm not arguing here. Look at the deal that's on the banner right now. 7 years, $213 million extension. That's nothing.
Okay, but what about 8 years, $250? What would that be?
That's ridiculous.
How is that more?
$213.5 million. Hang on, let me do the math. $213.5 million.
It's like 30 million plus a year.
30.5 million. So he's going to have the AAV, but it's about the years. He wants 9.
And by the way,
unfortunately, if a long-standing Yankee like Brett Gardner, they're not willing to pay at 39. I don't know if they're willing to pay Judge at 39.
Well, the one difference I wanted to bring up is when Mike Trout signed his contract, 12-year contract, I think, with the Angels, he was 28 years old. Aaron Judge.
I think it's just a matter that baseball has changed. The money in baseball has changed.
I'll bring up the other point, and Nick, I said it to both of you, I think a month ago or so. Look at the Albert Pujols contract and the albatross that caused with the Angels. He basically was released with 5 years left on the contract.
So the two of you would be happy to just let. First of all, I know Nick, you'd be happy because you're a nihilist.
Nick,
you don't believe in anything.
Nick,
what?
Nick. Okay, let me play one more judge's advocate. Let's say that Nick Morgan's prediction of the Yankees is right. And they're 500 through July. And a team like, I don't know, the Dodgers come after you. They're holding the bag. We'll give you all of this, all these top prospects for you to tank the season. We'll take Judge on this last half of his contract. Do you pull the trigger?
That's a tough one.
Again, it would have to be what are they offering, and it would have to be
because I'll give you a hot take. Because I'll give you a hot take.
Go ahead.
No, because I'll give you a hot take. If you didn't listen this morning, I don't think the Yankees are going to be a dynasty ever again.
I agree with you.
I mean, being a dynasty is a tough thing to do anyway. Well, the league has changed so much. I'd just be happy with one World Series.
I was going to say that I actually agree with Nick on that. Dynasties in general are hard because
but I think the direction of the Yankees is changing because you guys know my thoughts on Cashman. I think he sucks as a GM now.
Well,
he's going down.
Repeat the quote you said in a minute. You think he possibly is regressing, as a general manager?
I think he's regressing. I think money in baseball is changing. Now you want these players are going to want to be paid till they're 40 years old, and the money seems to not be slowing down, unfortunately.
It's going up, not down.
Yeah. And I say it's kind of unfortunate, especially when you had deals like they had with Apple TV. Good God.
Oh, forget it. I mean, it's so weird the way the money's going.
I think all of this ultimately comes down to the question that we were asking ourselves at the end of what team do the Yankees want to be?
They don't know.
I think they're having an identity crisis.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. I'm just saying I can't help feeling the way I feel. This is what I know.
But let me ask you a question.
What I know the Yankees can do, and I know the Yankees can afford it.
But let me ask you a question. Put the bias aside for a second and tell me truly if you would pay this contract out without the bias.
I would give an extra year at those terms. Instead of 7 years, add another 30. Add another year at 30 for that.
I'd be fine with 8. That's the only thing. I don't know if I want to pay Judge a 40 though.
It's a tough one.
Unfortunately, again, with the way baseball is, I think there will be a team that is desperate to pay Judge and will pay him at 40.
I don't see it. The guys are not making it to 40 anymore. They're retiring now before they get to 40. It's rare. Nelson Cruz is the one random guy that seems to be playing forever, but that's because he's aging.
He looked like he was going to retire, and then the NL adopted the DH. And hey, look, Nelson Cruz is back.
Actually, didn't he get suspended for a PED violation at one point also? If I'm not mistaken.
Nelson Cruz, yeah. I believe.
So that's all you need to know there. But no, there's no way I would pay this one. And Nick, you're going to say I'm being skeptical about this. The headache and the wherewithal that he's put the team through lately.
What do you mean the head? What the
Well,
vaccine
okay. Let me play one more devil's advocate because Nick, I know how you are with COVID stuff. What happens if it turns out Aaron Judge isn't vaccinated and doesn't play those games?
That's different though.
But wait a minute,
that's different.
But wait a second. Why is being vaccinated different from the other?
Nick, not so much about that, but it's about key games. Who is the one team that the Yankees fear in the division race right now?
Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays.
Then
and
you
if you're not
lose.
then that becomes a different story. If we find out that he's not vaccinated,
I'd say then would you be willing to trade him midseason?
Again, it would depend. It would depend.
All right.
My only concern, I sound negative about this. My only concern, I'm not sure if you guys know, I'm off the Hicks train. I'm not a fan.
I am too.
I mean, I don't think.
My only concern. Then there's a chance in the offseason you lose both Aaron Judge and Joey Gallo, and I don't think you can do that.
Well, I think Gallo's going to eventually find his way out if he keeps striking out.
I think so, but then there comes the point where are you willing to lose Judge and him? Because I don't know if Estevan Florial can make up for all that.
I just think the way that the Yankees are being with money. Can you imagine if Aaron Judge got hurt like 1 or 2 years into the contract, paying $30 million a year?
I think the fault lies on Cashman, and the fault lies on something, Nick, that we talked about weeks ago. Prospect hugging. I don't know if we're in this situation if the Yankees prospect hug so much. Maybe they work. Maybe part of it's also the MLB lockout that they didn't have as much time as they would have liked to work something out.
I mean, I hope IKF works out at shortstop because that was a big risk in a lot of ways when they could have possibly gone out and gotten somebody possibly. And
who knows, even if the Yankees maintain a healthy record, what if there's truth to these rumors that this insider is supposedly saying and the Yankees go after Juan Soto? Would you rather have Aaron Judge or Juan Soto?
I'd rather have Juan Soto.
I hate to say it, but I'd rather Juan Soto.
Juan Soto's younger, first of all. You could sign him to a longer-term extension and get the prime years. You're not going to look at it this way. 30 years old for an outfielder is out of prime. I hate to say it, but it is.
I don't know about that, but
it's on the fringe.
I mean, here's hoping. I'd say if everything is playing out as it is right now, I mean, here's hoping Volpe and Dominguez work out whenever they come up.
I mean, and I know this isn't an outfield, but look at Freddie Freeman. The Braves were not willing to pay him at 32. You think that
that's part of what scares me about this Judge thing. We're talking about other teams and how money is going with the league.
Are they going to basically say
that scares me? Judge.
Are they basically going to say, "Hey, all right, Aaron, we'll sign the contract, but after 2 years, if you stink, we're going to trade you, or we don't want to pay it anymore."
But then who's going to be willing to take on
That's
that
the problem. That's why I don't think they're going to risk that, especially with the amount of money that Aaron. And by the way, Aaron turned it away swiftly. Like he didn't even think about it. That's the scary part here. Can you imagine if someone came up to you and said, "Here's $213 million. All you have to do is sign the contract"?
Well, gentlemen, all I'm going to say is, wins that first series with the Blue Jays. May 1st or May 2nd?
First week of May.
May 2nd. May 2nd through May 4th is going to be a very interesting time for the Yankees fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll revisit that. So I know we're having some disagreements in the pride. I do want to take 1 minute to congratulate.
All right, that's fine.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Kansas. I mean, UNC was an 8 seed, and I thought, oh my God, they're going to pull off something special. They would have been the first 8 seed to win since Villanova in '85 with that miss upset.
Ironically, Villanova.
Kansas, congrats to them pulling off an unbelievable comeback.
It really is, and of course, raining on Coach K's parade. So that's that's become a national pastime in and of itself.
South Carolina, by the way. I mean, I know they had won a championship a few years ago, but I thought UConn domination was going to happen again.
I can't remember the star's name on South Carolina. She's been like huge during the whole women's tournament. I think it was her last name was Boston or something, wasn't it? Aaliyah Boston.
Aaliyah Boston, yeah.
Like she was unreal during that whole
and
tournament.
Now there's like over 1,000 players in the women's transfer protocol. It's nuts.
Well, yeah, that's what happened with the players from St. Peter's, because they're like, "F this, I can go be on a better team now because we proved it." Hey, maybe they may actually go to the NBA portal now because of that.
It could be.
Speaking of the NBA,
oh no.
So Adam Silver is a little concerned right now. So this comes actually. Let me bring up my old favorite place at the score. Silver. The headline is Silver concerned NBA star players not participating enough. All right. So NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has his eye on the quote trend of star players not participating in a full complement of games. He said Wednesday after the league's 2-day Board of Governors meeting in New York City, while acknowledging that the NBA lacked quote a great solution for the issue. Silver did cite 2 areas of emphasis for combating marquee player absences from the lineup: improving best practices for injury management and incentivizing player participation by tweaking the format of the season. Quote, the play-in tournament, I thought, was the beginning of a created, renewed incentives for teams to remain competitive and be fighting for playoff position. It might be through an in-season tournament and changes in formats where we can raise player production.
So basically, he's talking about Kyrie Irving.
Well, hang on. Kyrie Irving, Kawhi Leonard hasn't participated in a game this season. Zion Williams has yet to participate in a game this season. Ben Simmons doesn't look like he's going to play even through the playoffs.
So, yeah.
Nick right now is in the middle of what are you doing?
Oh, sorry. I have to pay attention to Adam Silver. I forgot. Yeah, so this whole quote that NBA stars are not participating in a full complement of games, no shit.
Here's a list, by the way. Here's a list of players who are not going to be able to make the 60-game mark. These are guys who have played fewer than 60 games this season. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, Ja Morant, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo.
Oh, Bam. Yeah, Miami. Yeah.
Bradley Beal, Paul George, Damian Lillard, Jarrett Allen, Brandon Ingram, Kristaps Porzingis, Gordon Hayward, Derrick Rose. Problem?
Yeah, I'm thinking there might be a little bit of a problem there.
REL.
Oh no!
Shut up! Who asked you?
I mean, you want my answer to this? This has been a problem forever. I forgot the name of the term. Like they did it a couple seasons ago.
Load management.
That's it. Thank you. Load management. That. Why don't they just say they're tired of load management? Because that's what they're doing here. Kawhi Leonard hasn't played a game in what seems like a million years.
So, hang on, Nick. But are you a fan of? I know the answer already. Are you a fan of the creation of an in-season tournament?
Look at all the failure.
That's what I thought.
I mean, are they serious? They're talking about taking the All-Star game away and putting an in-season tournament? Why don't we just create the All-NBA division, put all 30-plus teams on top of one another, and take the top half and just say you're in the playoffs?
Well, they wanted to do that. There was rumors that at one point they were considering doing that. Just taking the first 16 teams and having them be playoff teams. But then a certain somebody, one of your favorite people, led a movement to say no to that.
I can't win.
Oh, God.
You get the out of here.
We will what?
No, I'm just pissed off at the NBA. That's all.
We will get the bleep out of here with this story. Tiger Woods is playing in the Masters, and he actually made the cut. This is his first time playing in how long?
420 plus days, I think.
And he's made the cut with the Masters. He made the cut at like a -1 or something.
He made the cut. He was around like the 25th or 26th player, and the top 50 make the cut. I mean, this man almost lost his leg in a car accident, and he made the cut at the Masters. I mean,
his story just continues to get better. Now, I still hold the opinion that after his incredible win at the 2019 Masters, that's when he should have rode up into the sunset. But nevertheless, doing something like this, again, this man just does not go away.
I mean, he's I mean, are we rooting for him to succeed though?
Yes,
of course we are. I mean, I trust me, I'm not happy with all the stuff he's done in his past, but
neither am I. But you know, at least to see it, I mean, it's a good story.
But unlike some other athletes, he's actually come out and admitted that he's done some horrible things in his past, at least. Trust me, there are some athletes out there, we won't name any names, that have done some horrible things, and they just say, I don't know what you're talking about. Hope Solo?
Yeah, good point. That's definitely a good point.
So, yeah.
What a loaded episode. We went long, but we needed to because of our guest of AJ Perez, which, by the way, thank you once again to AJ Perez, Front Office Sports, for joining us for that whole discussion on the Washington Commanders story. That
go check out that story. He was the first one to scoop it. We're not kidding you. He was the first when we saw this story break about, unfortunately, Daniel Snyder, and he's up to his toolbox of tricks all
Dastardly deeds again, if we're going to compare him to the cartoon villain like we have been.
I still think he's the Joker, but that's a whole different issue.
The Joker is so much better than Daniel Snyder.
Next time, Gadget. Next time.
Who would have thought the NFL was going to be the lead, considering MLB opening weekend?
Yeah, sorry, baseball. We love that it's opening weekend, but football just hammered us.
I think what we'll do next week, we got to get into a healthy dose of baseball, breaking down some baseball next week. Hopefully. I hope so.
You don't tempt the sports gods, Nick.
Breaking news. Roger Goodell goes on tri-state killing spree.
No. Knowing Nick, LeBron James is going to do something next week.
I hate you. Get the out of here.
LeBron James signs deal to appear in Space Jam 3.
I swear, Nick, you need to have that nightmare. You need to have that nightmare where everybody around you is LeBron.
I'm going to block you from existence. I don't need another Space Jam movie. Ugh.
All right, you know what? We're just going to remove you while we close out the show. So, make sure to like us. If you're watching us on Twitter, make sure to like the episode and retweet it to spread it around. Make sure, if you're watching us on Facebook, to do the same, as well as like our page. And if you're watching us on our home on YouTube, make sure to give the video a like and hit that subscribe button. And when you subscribe, also ring the bell so that way you get all of the notification for all of the shows. Empty the Bench, Beyond the Bench, the Her Show, who's going to have a very big sports-related guest this week on Monday.
I was part of it.
Yes, Zach Hampel, who you may know as the home run collector.
The ball hawk and the YouTube creator. He caught A-Rod's 3,000th hit, which was his home run. He caught Mike Trout's first career home run. He's done a lot. He told us a story that he was almost in the place to catch Derek's 3,000th hit, too.
So that'll be interesting. So go tune in there. Also go tune in to Game On every Tuesday with Johnny and Hank. Actually, you two just did a whole MLB preview very recently. Empty the Bench and Game On came together for a little collab.
Oh, God. It was a crossover event. Jeez, as long as it's not Blue Bloods, I'm good.
So just make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and ring the bell.
Also, make sure you check out Inside the Numbers episode 0. Yes, you're going to look at me like I'm a deer in the headlights. Yes, we did an episode 0. So check that out.
And now you'll see them. And now that we've had our premiere week for Inside the Numbers, you'll see Inside the Numbers
Monday and Friday.
Monday and Friday.
We determined the time. It's going to come out 4 p.m. Eastern, Monday and Friday.
All right, so make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, ring the bell, damn it.
Ring the bell!
And that's going to do it for us. So after this long special episode of Empty the Bench, Again, thank you to AJ Perez. Little extended episode, special extended episode. For Nick Morganson, Nick Federa, I'm Tom Vandal. We'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody. See you next week.